In a statement just read on Saudi state television, Saudi Arabia confirms that the journalist Jamal Khashoggi is dead. Quickly want to go to CNN's Clarissa Ward. She's in Ankara, Turkey for us. She's following these late-breaking developments. I take it the Saudis, Clarissa, are now releasing a report on what they say happened to Jamal Khashoggi.
That's right. So we've heard, Wolf, in a state news bulletin on state television that there are essentially two main components to what is going to happen. Saudi Arabia announcing that the king himself, the most powerful man in the country, has ordered that a committee, which will be comprised of the Interior Ministry, the Foreign Ministry, and National Security, have all been tasked with coming together to issue a full and extensive investigative report into exactly what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, how it was he was killed. That report is to be delivered in 1 month's time. So Saudi's buying themselves a little bit of wiggle room here. But in the immediate time, though, Wolf, there is big news, which is that they're also announcing that they have dismissed General Ahmed al-Asiri. Now, you may be remembering, Wolf, that since Tuesday, we have been reporting that a former military officer, very high up in intelligence, was the one who was in charge of this mission. We can now confirm to you, we did not name him out of an abundance of caution before. We can now confirm to you this is consistent with our reporting of the past 3 days. The man in question was Ahmed al-Asiri. He used to be the spokesperson for the coalition that was overseeing the campaign, the war in Yemen. He is well known to be part of the Crown Prince's inner circle. We can now confirm Saudi state television saying that General Ahmed al-Asiri has been relieved of his position. Wolf, this is a significant move. This is a very high-ranking official, and this is presumably the first of several other dismissals. There were some other dismissals announced as well, but none anywhere near as high-ranking as General al-Asiri. But as I said before, the other headline, along with the dismissal of al-Asiri, is that they now have 1 month, National Security, Interior Ministry, Foreign Ministry, to put together essentially a report, a commission that will get to the bottom of how it was that Khashoggi was killed, Wolf.
All right, that's significant, the fact that they've now fired this General Ahmed al-Asiri. There were suggestions, reports earlier in the week that he was going to be the fall guy. Looks like that is unfolding right now. Quickly, I want you to stand by, Clarissa. Elise Labin is monitoring developments as well. What are you learning, Elise?
Well, Wolf, in this Saudi statement, in addition to Ahmed al-Asiri, who is, as Clarissa said, one of the senior advisors to Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, he was, as she said, the coalition spokesman. But Mohammed bin Salman had taken a liking to al-Asiri. He took him over. He's the deputy head of intelligence and a senior advisor. In addition to that, another senior advisor, Saud al-Qahtani. Now, he's not as senior as al-Asiri, but a very top advisor in the inner circle. And why is he important, Wolf? Because Saud al-Qahtani is somebody who had been speaking with Jamal Khashoggi over the last year, trying to get him back into the fold. There was a lot of, as we've been discussing, a lot of consternation about his criticism of the regime of Mohammed bin Salman. And this was one of Khashoggi's main interlocutors, saying, stop your criticism, stop the criticism on Twitter about Donald Trump, come back into the fold, we'll give you a position, we'll start a think tank for you. He has also gone along, Wolf, with 5 top intelligence officers. Of course, the main question here, with so many of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince's advisors in his inner circle, fingered in the killing of Jamal, the question is, what did the Crown Prince know? What did he authorize? And when did he know it, Wolf?
I want you to stand by. Clarissa's getting more details in Turkey right now. What else are you learning, Clarissa?
So we're also learning, Wolf, that along with the dismissal of General Ahmed al-Asiri, which, as I pointed out before, is important for a number of reasons, 18 Saudi nationals have been detained. 18 Saudi nationals. One other thing I want to mention, Wolf, because it does bear mentioning to our U.S. audience, it is currently 1 in the morning in Saudi Arabia. Not uncommon to see these, to see major news being broken so late in the night. in Saudi Arabia. I believe when it was announced that the Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman would become the now Crown Prince, that announcement was made at 3 in the morning. Now, we're also learning that apparently, according to the Prosecutor General, it was a fist fight that led to the death of Jamal Khashoggi. A fist fight that led to the death of Jamal Khashoggi. You may remember the details that we had heard up until this point from Turkish officials who were responding to the tape, the alleged audio that exists of this whole thing. They said there was some kind of an interrogation, some kind of a struggle that then led to Jamal Khashoggi's death. Not exactly clear yet how a fistfight could result in the death of a journalist. That presumably is what the Saudis will want to spend the next month reviewing with the national security involved Interior Ministry and Foreign Ministry, as I said. But certainly this is a significant moment. We have not seen anything quite like this from the kingdom, certainly any time that I can remember. But 18 Saudi nationals detained, one incredibly important senior advisor to the prince himself also dismissed from his position, and revelations now starting to come out as to exactly how, Wolf, Jamal Khashoggi died.
I just want to be precise, Clarissa. 18 Saudi nationals now detained, meaning they've been arrested by the Saudi government. Does that include among the 18 General Ahmed al-Asiri and Saad al-Qahtani, these two very high-ranking Saudi officials?
Well, we do know that Saad al-Qahtani, as you said, extremely high-ranking, that he has been detained. We know so far that General Ahmed al-Asiri has been dismissed from his position. As I said before, he is the one who oversaw the entire operation. A former military official, used to be the spokesperson for the coalition that is fighting that war in Yemen, a senior advisor, part of the Crown Prince's inner circle. He has been dismissed from his position. Qahtani has been also detained. This is momentous. We haven't seen anything like this coming out of the kingdom for a very long time.
All right, and so they say that Jamal Khashoggi died as a result of a fist fight at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. We know he walked in. He was fine walking in. He never walked out. Something happened inside. Walk us through what they're saying about a fist fight all of a sudden resulting in his death.
Well, it's interesting, Wolf, because the Saudis have only really just begun to sketch out the bare bones of a narrative. They clearly want to buy themselves some more time by having this larger, more detailed report that won't come from a month. But if you think back to what we have been hearing from Turkish officials who have been sort of leaking elements of this audio tape that reportedly captured the entire event, what we heard again and again essentially was that Jamal Khashoggi walked in there essentially to do something as mundane as to renew, to get some paperwork that would show that he was single, that would allow him to marry his fiancée here in Turkey. He was quickly taken into another room. He was interrogated. There was some kind of violence that went on. The Saudis clearly categorizing that as a fistfight. Up until then, we had simply heard that it was some kind of a violent altercation. And then somehow, and this really is the missing link, somehow that ends with Jamal Khashoggi being dead, and according to Turkish officials, then his body being dismembered, cut into little pieces. And there are still a lot of questions, I should add, Wolf. Where is that body? That is the one thing Turkish officials will be wanting to know. It is something that this state news bulletin from Saudi Arabia does not appear to address. Where is the body? And still, of course, who gave the order for this operation? What was the express purpose of this operation? How does a fistfight end up with a dismembered journalist? Wolf?
Especially when there were 15 Saudi nationals inside the consulate who were all flown over basically that day to deal with Jamal Khashoggi.